Hi folks, thanks for joining me for this week's Stillwater tutorial. In the vise we have something called the Red Devil. Well, it's a slight variation on the Red Devil, and there's a bit of a story to this fly which I'll explain while I'm tying. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in the vise we have a Hanak H270 barbless hook. It's at size 10. And this is a black nickel hook and it's on a medium wire. The thread I'm going to be using today is the UTC. It's at 140 denier, and as you can see it's red. So first thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of wax onto my thread. Yeah, now I've been involved with the Army Angling Federation for, well, getting on 30 years now, and obviously with the Army it's quite a transient population, and you meet lots of different people that come and go over the years. And a chap joined the Federation, getting on 15 years ago now, but his name was Peter Harrop. And if you fish the Midland reservoirs quite a bit, you might have come across him. He's always on there with his friend Brian Perryman, and they do quite well. Now, Peter's a lovely old gent, and he would never keep anything from anyone. So he was quite proud to suddenly run up to me in the car park one day and say, "Look, Lindsay, I've tied this fly. It's absolutely lethal. It's been destroying fish at Grapham for me and Brian." Sorry, I've digressed. I'm tying in the rib now, so I've laid my bed of thread. I'm tying in some holographic red, and it's small. So yeah, he was saying that this was really taking the place apart. So he showed me the fly, and the first thing I thought was, oh well, the wing's not long enough and the head's too big. And I thought no more of it, smiled and waved, as you do when somebody's good enough to give you a pattern. And it was some weeks later, we were in a match, and obviously Peter had passed this round the team. And sure enough, everyone in the team was absolutely slaying fish with this fly called the Red Devil. And I couldn't get my head around it because it didn't look quite right to me, but you know, who am I to argue with the fish? So now it's one of my staples. Now, this isn't the exact copy of the fly, it's my little variation of it, but it's more or less the same, and it has the same attributes. It's still quite a red heavy fly. It's got the large head that Peter originally had, and I've used the very short fibres for the wing. But other than that, I've changed it slightly by adding a little bit of Vivus to the front end of the fly, and you can see it's just a clear pearl tinsel. And I'm going to catch that in at this point. So I'm kind of halfway up the hook shank with my thread, and I'm just going to catch that in. Now, because it's got such a large head, you've got to really keep your thread back from the eye, because you're going to need that space. So at this point you can bring your pearl covering up. Now, to tie the Red Devil itself, all you would need to do is ignore this part of the video. So just don't bother putting the pearl into the fly, and then you would be tying Peter's original Red Devil. But this little variation has worked for me quite well. Does it make any difference having the pearl? I'm doubtful, but I just can't help myself with tinkering with patterns. It's always been the same. I get something that works really well and then mess with it until it doesn't work so well. But so I've just secured in my pearl tinsel there, and all I'm going to do next is bring my rib up the body. Now, before I come up the body, I'm going to get a couple of turns just in at the back here. Now what that does is just levels me up a bit, so that when I mount the body here, it doesn't, it's not a big step up. Keep your turns nice and close. just a millimetre or so apart, and then just bring it straight up through your pearl. And then you can catch that in just at the end. A couple of turns, then you can come in front. It's a very easy tie, this, actually, and I mean, I'm lazy, I'm all about easy, and if you can tie flies like this that catch you lots of fish, why wouldn't you? But so I've now got up to my head, and that's looking okay. Now the next thing is, I dare say Peter probably used varnish rather than UV resin, but for the purpose of the video I'm going to use UV resin. It's just quicker. With varnish you would have to prepare the body and obviously put it to the side to dry before you applied your wing. So I'm just going to give that a little, make sure you get complete coverage. And I suppose actually that this would be the time consuming part, putting on the coats of varnish and leaving it to dry, but with the wonders of UV resin you can kind of get that part done much quicker nowadays. Do make sure you cure this off though before you go on to the next stage. Now, the original pattern, Peter used strands from a cock hackle. I've got a pheasant cape here in black that I prefer because with the hen capes, pheasant, it's a hen cape. With the hen capes, what you get is you get the same sort of look, but the fibres are much softer, so in the water you're getting a lot more movement, and that's important to me. I think movement's one of the key factors to any pattern. So I'm going to take off not a huge clump, maybe about a centimetre's worth of strands. It's not a thick wing, and then I'm going to show it up to the hook. Now I don't want it to go past the body, and I remember Peter really going on to me saying, oh, the wing can't come past the body, and I'm thinking, well, all my cormorant wings come past the body. The fly doesn't make sense, but it definitely works. So I'm going to bow to Peter's experience, and I'm going to keep my wing nice and short. So dress it up. Once you're content you've got the length, you can come in with your snips and just remove your waist. Then just get it locked into position and you can start working on your head. Now, because I'm using the quite thick UTC, this won't take very long. It's just a couple of turns on a fly this size and you've got a nice big head. And I know it looks out of proportion. In fact, I know it looks completely mental, but please trust me when I tell you that this is going to catch you a load of fish if you choose to tie it up. So I'm going to come in with my whip finisher. If you can't whip finish, and I still can't, I'm not quite sure I've got it right, you can put a half hitch in, or you can simply hand whip finish, whatever your preference is. So remove your thread, then to finish off, again I think Peter would have used varnish or head cement. I'm going to use UV resin. And this was a closely guarded secret for a long time, the Red Devil, but as with everything in the competition circuit, it wasn't long before it got out and everybody had them, so I'm sure I'm not giving away any secrets here. Okay, so I've varnished up the head. Well, I've UV'd up the head. I'm going to just cure that off. And there you have the Red Devil variation. Deadly little fly. Don't be fooled by its strange looks. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've got something out of that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so, and I'll see you all next time.